Thanks for being on time. My name is Warren Clarke.
Tony.
And we are your hosts for this Barbershop Talk event. You know, it's bittersweet that we're in a barbershop and there's no one here.
Exactly.
You know, but it doesn't mean we can't have those intimate, amazing conversations that we have in the barbershop. Before we continue, I want to acknowledge the land we sit on here in Ottawa, which is the Algonquin territory. So I want to pay homage to the Algonquin territory, which is important. Also want to give a shout out to the Royal Bank of Canada for making this possible, for being a huge supporter of many things that I've been able to do here in the Ottawa community, such as the Afro-Caribbean Mentorship Program, and again, of course, the Barbershop Talk, Black Men and Misconceptions. Another shout out is to Tony for allowing us to do this in this barbershop.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate you. All right. So another thing that people should know is that this is where the Barbershop Talk originated. This is where it started, right here in this barbershop. Now, that was what, 4 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, I was going to say about 2 years. No,
it was longer than that. It was in 4 years. Wow. And, you know, man, time flies. Time flies, but we've been having we had a great conversation the first time we did it. The first time, if you remember, we anticipated like 10 people to be here.
Yeah, it was filled.
It was filled.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, we can't show you the barbershop right now because we're sitting, right? But it was, people were standing, people were sitting on the ground, literally, people were just, we had a great, exactly. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to encourage you today. So thank you very much, my brother. Please, please, please follow the right cut, please. All right. Support Black businesses. It's really important. 100%. All right. Thank you so much. Now, before we get into everything else, I want to give people a story. All right. First off, before I give you the story, you got to check the J's. All right. You got to check the J's. You don't get to wear stuff these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me to be out here and actually put on an outfit that I actually appreciate because of COVID, I can't wear it. Yeah, I'm gonna show off my J's. So please, if you want to put a comment right there, I'll see it. All right, say Warren, those are flag kicks. I will see it. So before we get into like what the Barbershop Talk is and why we're doing this event, I want to give people a story and why we're here for this particular event. So the Barbershop Talk is started, as I mentioned, 4 years ago. And usually when we're having these conversations, it's about understanding the lived experiences of Afro-Caribbean Black, or I'll use the term ACB, Afro-Caribbean Black or ACB men's lived experience in Canada. Now, there's a unique difference between the American Black men and the Canadian Black men and what we experience here. And part reason with this Barbershop Talk is not to only illuminate that, but to get a glimpse and understanding of what those lived experiences really are. What are the types of anti-Black racism coupled with sexism that many Black men experience in the Canadian nation state, which is a colonized nation state? So I'm dropping gems, people, as I go along, okay? Now, the unique part about the Barbershop Talk is we attracted a lot of young Black men, or ACB men, which was amazing. We've had great conversations, and the best and the most important thing about the Barbershop Talk is not that it's only therapeutic for many Black men, but it's an opportunity for them to be in a safe and social space where they can be vulnerable, which is very, very hard to do for many Black men.
It's true.
Right?
You can be yourself, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So when you're talking, you know, when you're in a barbershop, getting your haircut, you're talking about everything. You're talking about women respectfully.
And
all right.
People from different, you know, like from everywhere.
Exactly. Exactly.
Life, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Exactly, right? So when we talk about Blackness, it's different for many people and how they experience it. So that's the unique thing about the Barbershop Talk. But more specifically, why did this one particularly happen? So shout out to Flow Seniors, all right? If I could drop a Clues bomb, I would. If everybody follow Clues bomb, no? Am I old? Am I giving myself away? I think I am. But you know what? I was called out, okay? So usually, like as I mentioned, when we're talking about the Barbershop Talk, it's about we pay attention to younger Black men's lived experience, or ACB, okay? And shout out to Joe Seniors, the executive or founder of Flow Seniors, Joanne Robinson. Give a shout out to Joanne Robinson. Drop a cool bomb for Joanne Robinson. She called me up. She's like, Warren, why do you always do these like barbershop talks? And you know, you're always paying attention to young Black men. What about the older Black men, respectfully? Right? It had me thinking. All right, I was like, you know what? She's right. I learned a lot from older Black men, you know, and I continue to learn a lot from older Black men because they were here. Not only they're here before us, but they are still living it, and they have a lot of wisdom and knowledge to provide to us. What do you think about that?
Exactly. Who's there from the start shall be there in the end, right?
Oh, so we got to pay homage, right? So today's event is about paying homage to Black men who came before us, right? And not only paying homage, but an opportunity to not listen to their stories, but to continue to learn from them, because that's really important, okay? Now, one of the things that's really important for me, and I'm going to introduce this person personally, as my friend Peter is going to do the bios or read the bios of the other guests, is my father, one of the panelists today, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But one thing that I always remember from my father is that he said to me, Warren, there's nothing new under the sun, right? And when he told me that years ago, right, Tony? Yeah. He told me that, I was like, what's this crazy man talking about? There's nothing new under the sun. Like, man, there's new cars, there's new phones, there's new J's, you know, J's right here, J's, you know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. You know, but what he was saying is that, for example, when you look at the iPhone 12, it's a form of communication that's been around for eons, all right? There's nothing new when it comes to communicating, all right? They may put a new camera on it, they may put a new, a new button on it, but it's the same, it's gonna do the same thing, which is communication, all right? Now, I think when he told me that, I think I was like 13 or 12 or something like that. So I'm not really paying attention, you know? Yeah. But now, I'm not giving my age because you guys are going to call me old now, right? But now that I'm an older man, it means a lot. And it makes me focus and understand and appreciate some of the things that he's mentioned to me and continues to. Even last week, we got not a debate, but we got into like a little, he was saying something, I was like, no, I was like, no, it's this. And he's like, Warren, take it from this perspective. I was like, you know what? You're right. Yeah, sure. You're right. So it's really important, right, to pay homage to those lived experiences. That's what we're going to do today. All right. So, but before we get into that, we have giveaways. Yeah, we give away stuff. So for those who got beards, you want to do some grooming during the COVID-19 this pandemic. It's important. Please groom yourself. It's important. Trust me. It'll pay off in the long run. So we're going to be giving away, Adele, you ready? Can you show what we're going to give away? Please watch it. And support Black. Support Black, please. Yes, folks, we are going to quiz you at the end. Yes, you're in school. All right, this is what it is. You've been tricked. All right, this is actually a lecture that we're giving you, and there's an exam at the end. I'm lying. There's no exam. Okay, you got to put yourself on mute, folks. Please and thank you. Please put yourself on mute. Thank you very much. All right. So before we get into the panel discussion, I want to talk about Zoom etiquette. Okay, it's really, really important. First off, this is a safe space. Okay. We are not here to tear down any person at all, regardless of their gender, race, sexuality. I don't care what their social location is or characteristics are. We do not hate in a barbershop talk, okay? It's really, really important, all right? We will boot you off. Yes, we have the power to boot you off. I have the one finger, I'll just slide over your name, and I'll just like, end, delete, bye, okay? Well, let's not do that. Let's not come to that because we want to really have a rich conversation. Okay, and I appreciate y'all understand that. So thank you very much. Please, 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 safe space. Okay, we don't curse. This is a PJ-13 event. All right, so please keep it PG-13. All right, exactly. So we're doing something a little different with this barbershop talk today. One, we're having a panel discussion. That's the first thing, and that's going to go for about half an hour, 45 minutes. Okay, so we've got some amazing Black men who's actually brought their younger, a young person with them, or their son or nephew, I think it's all sons, that they're going to give experience, all right, or perspective on how we appreciate older Black men, all right? Tony and I, we're going to be moderating this, okay, and we're going to ensure that we can get as much information or a rich conversation throughout this point of the barbershop talk, okay? Once we hit the 45-minute mark, we're going to open up to a question and answer period. That question and answer period is going to allow you at home to either type a question, give a comment, or ask a question live right here on this Barbershop Talk panel, okay? Once we're done the entire panel discussion, including the question answer, we're going into the traditional Barbershop Talk series, okay? Now, Tony, can you explain a little bit, but the type, not the specifics, don't get specifics on the conversation you have with your clients, right? We can't break trust.
Yeah, for sure.
But what is it, like, what's so mind-blowing about having those conversations in the barbershop?
I guess first off, I guess the comfort space, you know, where people feel comfortable. There's that bond between you and the barber. It's just you and him personally. So you feel like you could open up to him, you know? And I felt like, I don't know, just me being a barber and just the experiences I've had with like clients, it's just been amazing just to hear their stories, stuff that they would most likely discuss with their, you know, I would say the woman or whatever the case may be, but they would discuss it with me and ask my opinion. And I'm like, I'm not a specialist in anything, but I tell them what I think, and most of the time it helps, you know? It helps, you know? So I remember I had this one guy, one time he came to me and he was saying that, oh my God, I have this issue with my mom and I haven't spoken to her, and this is the longest time I haven't spoken to her. And I said, at the end of the day, this is your mom, you know? This is your mom, and you need to forgive your mom, whatever it is. She gave birth to you. And he said, you know what, Tony, I never really thought of it that way, and that's what I'm going to do. He came back and he told me I did that, and him and his mom did good. So at least, you know, a black, you know what I'm saying? He could open up to me and I could advise him, you know?
Thank you very much for sharing that, you know? And one thing I want to mention, right, what's so unique about the barbershop is that, as I mentioned earlier, actually, it's a place for a lot of black men to be vulnerable, okay? Now, research has shown, particularly, I'm just pointing to my own research, just so folks know I'm doing my PhD in sociology, just leave it there. But research has shown that when vulnerable people can gain a sense, or marginalized people, I should say, sorry, can gain a sense to an opportunity to be vulnerable with those who they trust, then there can be a relationship of solidarity. And that relationship of solidarity is what, you know, Tony just mentioned, manifests into a positive relationship where Tony can provide information or suggestions to that young black man so he can go back in the community and do something positive with himself.
Exactly. And the advice is mutual. It's mutual. It's not like I'm a family member where I might pick a side. It's very mutual. So I hear what he has to say and I said, you know what, if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. You understand? So I guess that's even a better way for him to open up to me in that case, you know?
Exactly. And thanks for that. You know, and one of the things, right, you know, yes, we're living in a COVID reality right now. And because, you know, the COVID reality has stripped our opportunity to be a part of the Barbershop Talk or barbershops, this platform is, I trust, will give you that feeling when you're at home. No, I'm not getting my hair cut. No, Tony's not cutting my hair. But, you know, as long as we're giving the ambiance, think, you know, if you're any Tupac fans out there, if you're a Tupac fan, give me a thumbs up, all right? Tupac fans? No thumbs up? Okay, I got one. At least I got one. My dad ripped off my Tupac poster. I just want to let people know. When I was 15, he told me to rip it down. I'm just letting you know, Dad, I got you back. But anyways, right? I had this one song, Picture Me Rolling. All right, so I want people to close their eyes. You know, close your eyes and picture yourself in a barbershop. All right, we're about to have that barbershop talk online. And if you know people who are going to benefit, send them the link. All right, it's really important. This is an opportunity for us to learn, grow, build our communities. It's all happening. But let's get into the panelists. So Peter, can you help me, please? Who do we got on this panel discussion?
All right, so first I'm going to introduce Mikey Wisdom Acevero. Born and raised in Toronto, Canada to Trinidadian parents, Michael Acevero started his journey as a DJ at the age of 13 years. As a DJ, Mikey Wisdom had played in popular groups like the DOG Squad, Berry Culture, Black Gold, and the Scarborough Alliance. After moving to Ottawa in 1994 to attend university, Michael joined the radio ranks. He pioneered CKCU's flagship hip-hop show, Peaceful Journey. He also opened live shows for celebrity acts, including Total, Redman, Bears Hammond, and Square One. Michael completed a double major in economics and psychology at Carleton University. He then went on to earn a Bachelor of Education from Lakewood University in 2001. He married his wife in 2002, and they are the proud parents of 3 boys. Michael worked as a private school teacher for years before going to work for the federal government. When illness forced him to leave his job in 2011, Michael focused on finding a cure and serving the community. Michael has been a volunteer football coach since 2016, and he is always willing to lend a hand. No matter what obstacles life puts in his path, Michael has no plans to stop giving back. He has co-hosted CHUO's Caribbean Flavor radio show for over 25 years. As he always says, music runs through his veins, laying a steady beat for everything in this world.
Mikey, welcome. Welcome to the panel. All right, cool. Next, please. Thank you, Peter.
Next, we have Alex Eloise. Alex Eloise is a retired employee of Canada Post Corporation who has given about 30 years of service to the company. On many occasions, he represented the corporation at the unveiling commemorative stamps of prominent Black individuals like Nelson Mandela, Viola Davis, now on the $10 bill, and others during the annual Black History Month celebrations. Professionally, he is an accountant and a certified fraud examiner, and currently enjoys his retirement, playing music, drums, guitars, and vocal, golf, volunteering, and being a family man. He's married to Nancy, and they have 3 beautiful daughters and a 10-year-old granddaughter. Alex is an active member of the St. Lucia Association, and during his tenure as the president, his team helped organize the St. Lucian Talent-On Parade, also known as STOP, to celebrate St. Lucian culture and provided community members with the opportunity to display their talents through education, art, dance, poetry, fashion, and music. As treasurer of the Alta Vista School Parent-Teacher Committee, he was asked to recommend to the School Board of Ontario financial control policies for parents and teachers committees to safeguard the collection of funds and other matters. Alex served as the accountant advisor for Jaku Convent, a youth-centered organization that focuses on empowering African and Caribbean youth. Alex is also a musician who teaches others to play the guitar through his passion for music. For the past 3 years, he played for the annual Christmas sing-along at the Cultural Arts Studio. He also played at the Black Scholarship, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent Annual Dinner and Dance Gala. As a certified fitness instructor, personal trainer, and wellness specialist, Alex has led exercise classes for coworkers, youths, seniors, and the public at large. As a columnist to the Spectrum newspaper, Alex also wrote articles on the virtues of the importance of exercise and proper nutrition as a preventative measure for healthcare in an effort to spread the word on active living. He's also coached young women's soccer and taught leadership skills for over 8 years. For the past 3 years, Alex has been involved in the Black Canadian Scholarship Fund Golf Tournament Committee to help raise funds for Black Canadian students who are financially unable to afford university tuition. In 2019, the committee raised $9,000 for the bursary. Thank you, Alex.
Alex, welcome. The very long bio, but really appreciate it. Thank you very much for what you do. All right, I think, Peter, I'm going to jump in now because I think those are only 2 you had to read.
Yeah, I also have one for Michael Brooks.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Please, go ahead.
So Michael Brooks came to Canada as a humble youth from Kingston, Jamaica, never afraid of adversity, always forward-thinking and ready to take on a challenge. His ambition created a vision for his community from a young age. Noticing what was lacking, specifically within the Black community in Ottawa, Michael focused foremost on creating opportunities for the youth. His vision of what he hoped for in the community could be seen through his organization of basketball tournaments, fashion shows, after-school programs, outreach programs for the youth, concerts, and entertainment for the broader community. Michael has spent a lot of his time volunteering with various organizations within Ottawa and the surrounding areas, specializing in entertainment and music. As a producer working with various artists and being an artist himself, his work led him to the other side of the music and entertainment industry where he created B&B Promotions. Michael was one of the organizers for the first Reggae Fest in Ottawa and played a big part in Jamaica Day, Compa Fest, African Festival, Urban Festival, and Soul City Music Festival, just to mention a few. His career enables him to be a mentor to many individuals in the construction industry. He encourages others to develop their skills in the trades, in turn providing them with job opportunities. As well as a full-time career in the construction industry, Michael continues to focus on his vision for the youth in Ottawa as the president of his not-for-profit organization, Rhythm Movements Community Association. Here, he focuses on providing a platform for youth to express themselves creatively and artistically while promoting the importance of building positive and productive relationships within the community. As president of Rhythm Movements Community Association, Michael also volunteers his time with like-minded organizations like Flow Seniors to encourage intergenerational activities. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Ooh, look at that. Now, why I'm jumping in now is because we got a few people who are not in Canada who's going to be part of our conversation. This is going to be unique. You know what I mean? This is going to be real good. So we got 3 people that are in Barbados that's going to join our conversation. 2 of them are family members. I'm putting my uncle on the spot here. I trust he's ready because I think he's ready. There he is. Look, he's ready. Saw his face. He's not smiling though, but he's ready. All right. All right. So, and then my father's friend, Hadam, I think you're there. I think I pronounced your name right. And the reason why we're bringing them in this circle, because we want to hear different perspectives. All right. When we talk about blackness is not the same, folks. It's not experienced the same. So this is going to be a unique panel discussion. I'm dropping gems. If you haven't noticed, I'm dropping gems. All right. So I'm not sure. Can you put the spotlight on so you can please see me? I'm only seeing Peter. Thank you very much. Just want to thank you. Also, so coming to the stage is Warren Clarke. Warren Clarke is my uncle, as I mentioned. He's a member of the BLP in Barbados. He's been a member of the BLP for many, many years. I'm freestyling this off my head. So if I miss anything, Glenn, please correct me. All right. So one of the things, I'm going to give a good story here, Glenn. I got you. All right. So Glenn's he's been a mentor to me behind the scenes. All right. He probably doesn't know this, but everything he's been doing, he's been showing me how to do it behind the scenes. So I've been seeing a lot of his accomplishments over the years. And he's been a very good motivator for me to do many things that I do in my life. So I'm keeping it brief, but Glenn, I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. And thank you for being part of this panel discussion. I'm sure we're all going to learn something. The other person is Adam. Adam, I don't know you well, but I heard a lot of good things about you. All right. I heard you're very wise. So I'm really interested in knowing what you got to say and add value to these conversations. And last but not least, the person who was there from day one, Cleveland Clarke, my dad. There's not, words can't really express how much I appreciate this man. Here's the thing about, father-son relationships. Sometimes they're ups, sometimes they're down, all right? But the one thing that I know for sure, when they're down, I know that it's coming back up, all right? So I appreciate that. It's always love you, all right? We're willing to hear from you. We want to learn from you. So please welcome these panelists to the show. Oh, sorry. Barbershop Talk. All right. So please.
Thanks, Warren. One thing I want to add a little bit more there to Glenn, my brother, actually. He will be taking up the position of the High Commission in Ottawa. He probably would have been there already, but because of the COVID, he's not there yet. So I just want to mention that he was a former minister. He was the Minister of Public Works. He was Minister of Housing. And he was also minister in various capacities, but now that he has stepped down, he will be taking the position in Ottawa. So some of you may get to know him eventually in Ottawa. So that's just a short sum. He's a lot more, but that's just short because he was late in committing.
Thank you very much, I appreciate you. So panelists, welcome. Let's get this thing started. All right. So please, Adele, please spotlight our panelists and let's start asking them questions, And please, audience members, write down your questions. If you have any comments, please put them in the chat, and we will get to them. I promise you. All right, with time under, always against us, but we'll try our best to get as many as we possibly can. All right. So Peter's going to help us, narrate to moderate in terms of asking the questions, and then we're opening up to the panelists. Okay. Tony and I will co-moderate with Peter, obviously, and we may throw in some questions as we go along. Right? And keep your attention on the shoes. The shoes. Is it the shoes? Yes, it is. It's the shoes. All right. So, are we ready, panelists?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's do this. So, Peter, what's the first question we got for us?
The first question is, as the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. Coming to Canada from somewhere foreign, would you say this statement to be true?
So it takes a village to raise a child. You know, is that statement true? What do panelists think?
Yes, it is true, because we have adopted that from way back in the Caribbean. As a matter of fact, even further, we have adopted that from Africa. As I am not sure if the Caucasians have that adaptation of it takes a village to raise a child, but we have done that through the Caribbean, through Africa, for a very long time. So, and if we stick with that kind of a culture, it could be very helpful to re-adapt people in Canada and North America.
Yes, but the key thing is, in as much as I do agree with that statement, the question is, you know, coming to Canada from a foreign land, would you say the statement is true? I think to a certain extent, obviously the statement itself is true, and obviously it depends on the environment. But coming to Canada, because of the vastness of Canada and the disbursement of people, or Black people, it is very difficult to institute that kind of it takes a village. I found that it was very, very difficult to do because we were so far apart from each other. So one of the things that I did personally was to get involved in the community, because by getting involved in the community, what it does, it gives you access to understanding who is in the community. And as a result, then you can actually learn from or probably advise. And this is what is happening in the community right now, in that we do not have that it takes a village. I am very, very I'm thankful and happy that you guys are organizing this. In my day, we didn't have that. We did not have any older men to give us advice as to how to proceed in this kind of environment. I do appreciate the fact that we are now making an effort to do that, and that is something that I would encourage. So in answer to your question, yes, it does take a village to raise a child, but we do not, in as much as we have a village here, we are not organized to ensure that that happens not only now, but on a continuous basis.
I agree.
I don't know what you think about that, Mikey.
I would extend what you said by also highlighting the fact that it doesn't stop when I'm laughing because the whole come from foreign statement. When we were discussing it before about how to describe coming from far away to this land. But I think throughout the discussion today, I'm going to be the bridge, because I'm a first generation. I was, as the bio said, I was born in Toronto. My parents are both Trinidadian, and why I say it's a bridge is because I think I've kept a lot of the old school ways in terms of how I'm raising my children now as well. So I don't think it's removed from us being first generation Canadians of West Indian heritage or African heritage to maintain the roots and the foundation of how our parents were brought up and how our parents' parents were brought up. I think along with the mentality that we're all here for in the discussion that we're having is we have to make a concerted effort with what Alex was saying in maintaining the following generations. We can't let go now and say, oh, we're Canadian, so it's okay, let our children. I personally don't believe in that. I think maintaining our culture is a very important part of what we're doing. And these discussions help in furthering that, so that we understand the trials and tribulations of that effort, and also finding new ways, because Zoom, as horrible as COVID has been, Zoom and these new pieces of technology that are coming along are solving some of the problems that we did have in terms of distance and communication and so forth. So to answer, I think, yes, it does take a village. Yes, it's difficult when you come to Canada and it's not around the corner. Your tanty isn't around the corner anymore. Your tanty's 10, 15 minutes drive down the road, but we have technology available to us now that can help us to achieve these things. And we have to make a concerted effort to make use of this technology and the effort to continue our upbringing, our belief system, our culture for the generations that are coming as well.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, bro. Yeah, to me, I do think it is so right, because when you leave your home and come to a foreign country, right? You know, I came here, right? And I came to my mom. I came here with my uncle. And when I came here, it seems strange. It seems strange, and you know, I immediately look at my mom and I said, "Where's the people that look like me?" You understand? Because where I grew up in Jamaica. If you don't know me, nobody know me now. I mean, them called Daddy Brooks. You understand? And I live by the Jamaican motto: out of many we are one people, one blood, one love, one unity. You understand? Right? And yes, it does take a village to raise the children and to maintain your culture, your lifestyle, your understanding, and your forward thinking. Because if you don't have that, as I'm gonna ask the elder gentlemen over there, as my mother, my grandfather, my uncle, my auntie, the one of them used to beat me steady and tell me, say, if I don't know where I'm coming from, I will not know where I'm going. You understand? Right? And if you're looking at the Bible, it tell you, seek and ye shall what?
Fine.
All right.
Fine.
Right? And then what you got to do, Alex? Knock and the door shall be
Open.
all right, but don't talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nicely put, nicely put. Glenn, you have anything to say there?
Yes, I want to endorse the statement that was made by Mikey, that it is very important for us to, when we leave the Caribbean, when we come to Canada, that we maintain our culture. I think the whole concept of it takes a village to raise a child must be expanded in today's society, because, you know, it has to do with the culture, how you have Caribbean people, Caribbean descent, raise your child in the same culture. It has to do with culture, because the village sense as it used to be in the Caribbean does not exist in Canada. But it takes the Black community, the Jamaican community, Trinidadian, Barbadian, St. Lucian. What your community must focus on the people of that descent. You must help them. I think it has to do with, if you see a person going wrong, you must be able and willing to stop that person and say, look, what you are doing is not right to the community, or what you are doing, try to motivate people. I think it takes a village, the whole concept. You must explain, identify, and define what a village is. I think the whole concept of village now must be expanded so that it's not taken in its literal sense, but is taken to mean that persons of your culture must help to bring up the children to understand, to identify where they came from and where they're going. They must understand that. The other thing is, I believe that children, as they grow, emulate somebody. They emulate their parents, they emulate their community, they emulate the people that their school, because the whole environment raises a child. A child has, you know, from your school, from your home to school, the church, all this is part of the village. Like, how do you interact with one another is important. And therefore, it takes more than the parent. That's what the whole concept means. The parents to raise the child. The extended family. I'm happy to say that there are a number of times where persons who were not born in the Caribbean, but born of Caribbean parentage, that they get together and do similar things to what they do at home. So you teach your children about where they came from, what they are going, what is happening, and so on and so forth. So that it is important for us to divulge a number of things so that our children understand where they came from and where they're going, understand the culture. And I'm very happy that I see many of our Caribbean people having the various associations up there to help raise the children, to help them to understand the culture. And I think this is a good thing. I think your show, Warren, is very commendable, and I want to highlight that today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You know what? I thought we were gonna have to bring it. You guys are bringing energy. So, Adam, I know you're out there. Do you have anything to add? Because I don't think I just want to stop. Let you speak if you're there. Adam, are you there?
I don't think he's in as yet. He sent me a message telling me that he's getting problems getting in. So
okay, all right. So we'll move on. There was a few comments here. I'm just gonna read a comment here from Antoinette. She says, it really takes a village to raise a child. The village is inclusive of church and school, and maintaining and embracing who you are. We're all need a helping hand. All right. So I think there's relevance in that. I think we need to acknowledge. I've been saying this relationship of solidarity. And it's not a catchphrase for me to make it sound good, or like, oh yeah, Warren's saying relationship solidarity. No, I think there's meaning in that, and I think there's meaning in what, and I think I'm hearing that in when everybody's speaking. And it's about not only embracing that, but also knowing what it means, not just the general sense of solidarity or, it takes a village to raise a child, but to actually put into action. And what Glenn had mentioned, being open and acknowledging that, we can add value to our younger ACB community members. So I'm not sure if let's move on, because we have a lot of questions. Oh, we got one more here. Just one more comment from Louis Marsh. I got to give a shout out to Louis Marsh. Please check him out. Zero Gun Violence Movement out in Toronto. He mentions here, hello, one and all. When I grew up in Jamaica, I had 10 mothers and 10 fathers, all looking out for my best interest. That was my village. Hey, if you got 10 moms and 10 mothers and 10 fathers, that says a lot.
You can't slip up.
You can't slip up. You can't.
I like the first comment where she said embracing who you are. I believe, like a lot of us come to Canada, right? And we come to Canada and it's like the two cultures. We have one culture that we're used to, and we try to fit in, try to blend in, right?
Yeah.
And it's so often we have kids, and not only that, we face challenges trying to keep our culture. They face challenges by mingling with other kids like themselves. We come to Canada, work as hard as we work. Sometimes we have 3 jobs. What's left to raise our kids? The media, And with all what's going on in the world, the hip hop and all these things, we hardly have time to spend with our kids and show them the right way. So the fact that you guys say, okay, it takes a village, I believe it takes more than one. That's my village to me, more than one person.
So we have to be open and appreciate people coming up.
Because you have to take into consideration what we used to back home. Like I know, with my parents, what she used to do with my little brothers is that she couldn't discipline them in public. This is Canada. But you'd give them a pinch or two in the washroom,
Wisen up.
Yeah, and they would know, And that's the thing, like I said, challenges. But staying true to who you are, coming from where you came from, is very important.
Yeah.
You should always try to use your culture to influence
the others. Yeah, I definitely agree. So we're going to move on, because time's always against us. Peter, what's the next question for us, please?
All right, the next question says, in your journey as a young man, now to be considered a middle-aged man, how do you believe you've given back to the youth in your community?
Ooh, so, okay, we're going, so remember Back to the Future? Can I get the spotlight real quick? I'm going to say something funny. This is gonna be hot, all right? Everybody remember the movie Back to the Future? Doc Brown, I know it's, a white movie, I get it, all right? But Doc Brown, Back to the Future, we about to use a time machine. All right, we're going back to the future, or we're going to the past. So we're gonna ask these panelists You know, Peter, one more time that question, please. Just really quick.
The question is, in your journey as a young man, now to be considered a middle-aged man, how do you believe you've given back to the youth in your community? I've also posted the question in the chat if anyone needs to refer to that.
Thank you very much. So who would like to start? You know, you gotta start, you know, from when, in the past, and then, you know, bring it up to the present. You know, what have you been doing? What have you learned? You know, and why was it relevant, in your opinion, to when you were mentoring or teaching young ACB or Black youth? Why is it relevant? Who would like to start?
I will start that question. It's obvious that just being here and imparting some of my knowledge and my experience is a testament to the fact that I still want to give back. But in the past, is one of the things that I've found that is so important to get involved. And by getting involved, volunteerism is one of the key areas that one does not necessarily have to spend money to learn. A lot of the times we go ahead and we go to university, we spend a lot of money to learn things, but when we take the time to volunteer, we learn so much more of so many other things that school would not provide. So this is something that I did in my development here in Canada. I became involved in my association. I came as a vice president, then I became a president, got programs for the youth to get involved. That's one. I also was involved in the OECS, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. That's about 9 small countries in the Caribbean that form one group. And through that association or organization, we're able to reach programs or create programs for the youth. So this is one area that I did a lot of work in. And also Martin Luther King Day, for example, every Martin Luther King birthday in the past, I used to go to the schools, of various schools, and actually educate them on what the teachings of Martin Luther King. I've done that many times. That is something that I've always done. And I was also involved in the Alta Vista Public School as a Parent Teachers Association. The whole idea is you see that there is a need and you have certain skill sets. So the key thing is by getting involved, you not only learning is very good, but you also have an opportunity to impart your knowledge. And by doing that, you open a wide range of opportunities, of contacts, of relationships, of helping others. And that I used to help certain students go into school and raising the funds and the protection of raising the funds for these students. I also, as a coach, soccer coach, I taught young ladies from age, from 8 all the way to 16 years, to about not only about playing soccer and not only about winning, but more about leadership, certain little things that they need to understand as young women coming up in this world. Bottom line is that yes, it takes a certain type of person to recognize that much that is given is much that is required. So I feel that I'm very, very fortunate in a lot of ways. And as a result, I am using that time to impart or to get myself involved in helping others and helping the youth. So basically, in answer to your question, as a young man and considered to be middle-aged, I do believe that I have given back to the community, and that is something that I will continue doing, just so you know.
You know, one thing I'm learning through that, if people are paying attention, thank you, Alex, really appreciate you. You know, networking. There's networking. I just learned how to network from Alex. You know, what I mean by that is that he was open-minded, and then also took the opportunity to seize the moment to go out into the community. And when you're doing that, you're meeting different people. People are meeting you. You just dropped knowledge on us, people. Did you catch? I caught that. Alex, you appreciate it, my brother. All right. Who's next? Who's adding value there? Who's going to add value?
I see Brooks is still muted, so I'll go ahead. Similar to Alex, I think that's been my life as well. It's it almost comes like you become a MacGyver of things, because you're always constantly. I'm trying to be careful, and I don't want to make anyone, because I don't think the intent of these conversations is to make people feel as if they haven't done, or if there's a problem in not doing. Some of us are just wired differently, and we're it's almost like we have a constant itch to be out there and putting ourselves out there to be doing things. So I want to make sure that I'm clear in saying that I don't want anyone to feel as if we're saying these things to say what we've done, but more in highlighting, well, this is the effort we made, and there's so many opportunities for people to do things as well. So similar, my life has been filled with filling gaps and making sure that there's opportunities for people to do things, and places for them to go, and people for them to meet, and connecting people. A lot of what you'll find with us, I keep laughing every time you say middle age. I'm just like, who you calling middle age?
It's okay.
We don't reach that yet.
We're not there yet, Mikey.
We're not.
You still have to pay your dues.
But yeah, it's a constant taking the opportunity to help, and there's a I don't want to say a younger man that's in this group who taught me a wise lesson a little while ago, is that sometimes in all that we're doing as well, when we've created something, or when we've managed to establish something, sometimes the good move as well is to move aside and let the younger generation come in and do their thing as well. So it may not look the same as what we want, it may not sound the same, but sometimes once we've built it, we have to be wise enough to step aside and let somebody else come in and push it forward. So in terms of doing sports, I think sports has been a very important part of everything that we've done as a family. My son is here, and I'm sure he's going to laugh when I say this. In all that we've done, I've dragged them with us in doing it. So whether it was music, whether it was sports, whether it was cultural events, or whatever the case is, if I'm going, they're going, and they have to drag along and come with me, because they have to see it. They have to be a part of it, and it's almost ingrained in them that it's their community, and they have to be a part of that community. So
very good.
Even with the radio station, I could tell you they've all been born into the station. All the listeners know them from little babies coming up. They have, I constantly get people sending pictures of when they were in, the eldest here was a little baby in a carriage pushing around, because like I said, if I'm going, they bring a pan side from Trinidad, and he's 8 months and he's on the side of the hill with me. And his mom is like, where are you taking my child? Well, there's a pan group come up from TNT, so we're going, you know what I mean? So I think it's hard to pinpoint, for me especially, where or how it weaves in and out of my life. But I can tell you, it is my life. When you work to pay bills and do all these things, and then the rest of the time is spent enriching and helping, and so I think, as important as it is to mention the established things that we do, it's also important to mention, and I can speak, I know Alex spoke already, and I'll speak for him when I say this, and I'll speak for Brooks when I say this as well. I think what's just as important is when the new person arrives from foreign, that we're there to meet them and to welcome them into the community, and to show them who to talk to if they need this, and who to speak to if they need that. When they're feeling lonely on a Saturday, who they can go in line with on a Saturday afternoon, showing barbershops, shout out to the barbershop, and establishing that connection, so that when somebody new comes on board into the city or into the country, that they're not feeling like the pioneer did when they first arrived. That it shouldn't be that 50, 60 years you come to a city and you're going through the same problems that the first person did when they came back in the 1960s or whatever. So I think it's important for us now, as we're moving along, to continue to fill that gap. So most of my time is spent filling those gaps.
Agreed.
I have to jump in.
Straight up.
Sorry,
And
sorry, Michael. One real quick. Sorry about that. You know, I have to say something here at this point regarding our lived experiences as Black men. And I got this. You know, I had a very in-depth conversation that I consider this man. I know he doesn't like me shouting him out when I do this, but I'm going to do it anyways because you guys should know who he is. He's probably sitting in his seat saying, Warren, don't do it. But I'm going to do it anyways because that's how much love I have for this brother. All right. Dr. Tamari Katosa, my mentor. You've been amazing. You know, I know you're there listening. You're probably like, why'd you do it? Going to do it anyways because I think you're awesome. You know, he's a associate professor at Carleton University right now. Please look him up. He's got great works. And, you know, I was telling him one day, you know, about the amount of things I'm doing in the community and, you know, how much I'm dealing with, like, you know, being in one organization and then volunteering here and, you know, still being a Black man. Because at the end of the day, we are not perceived as equal to our white counterparts. That's just the truth. All right. And he dropped this term on me, which I'm going to drop on you today. And I would like the panelists to, you know, think about this. And the term is called John Henryism. All right. So John Henryism is a strategy for coping with prolonged exposure to stresses, such as social discrimination, by expanding high levels of effort, which results in accumulating psychological costs. So, you know, when we talk about, you know, Alex, when you were talking about, you know, volunteering here, Mike, and kind of hearing the same thing, you know, are we considering the anti-Black racism and sexism that we experience as Black men when we're doing this? Because that's a high level of stress that we have to contend with, you know? Like, what do people think about that? Yeah, I'm throwing there. I just threw the wrench in there. I just did. I'm not apologizing for it. Tamari Katosa, thank you. You're my brother for life. But what do y'all think about that?
I'm not sure if I understand the question. When you say a high level of stress, a high level of stress of being marginalized or high level of stress to be able to handle the situation, which I'm not sure.
I think it's both, you know? So high level, like when you're as a Black man, you still have to deal with a high level of stress, do we not? You know?
Oh, yeah.
Like how are you dealing with this high level of stress as anti-Black racism, or I'll use the term, dropping gems as I go along here, folks, you know, misandry noir, all right, or discriminating based on our race and our sex, and then still dealing, that's a stress on its own, and then still dealing with this high level of stress to try to give back to the community. You know what I mean? Because you're working so hard. You know, Mikey, I heard you say you did a full-time job and you're volunteering and you're bringing your kids. You know what I mean? Like, are we considering those stresses in our lives as Black men?
Yes, we are. Of course.
I think it when you map it out like that, it not that it just sounds, in my mind, I don't even consider half of what you just said. I think it's as natural as breathing at this point in time, because I don't think we have a choice in the matter. It's just a survival thing at this point in time. And every so often when somebody makes mention of it, you take kind of stock and say, oh shucks, yeah, I am dealing with that. And, you know, but I think on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't, not that it doesn't affect us. I don't think it interferes with what we're doing because we've become so accustomed to just pushing through. And I don't think that it's fair. I don't think it's right. I don't have the answer or the solution to it. But to answer your question, how do we deal with it? I don't think I don't think it's a conscious effort to deal with it. I think it's a hiccup in the road that we just cross over and go about our business at this point in time.
Yeah, let me answer that, Mikey. Let me add to that. When you say how you deal with it, I think a perspective and an attitude is a very, very important tool to deal with some of those perspectives. And one of the things that I did was, do you know, from the time that I've been here, almost 40 years, I've never experienced racism.
What?
Yes. You know why I've never experienced it? Because let me explain.
Hold on, Alex. Can you repeat that again?
I have never experienced racism. Yes, in my work. No, I know that it exists. I've seen it, and I know that I am part of it. But my attitude has always been that I know it's there, and I acknowledge that it's there, but I put it aside simply because racism comes. Of course, it's institutionalized. Of course, it's systematic. But the people that spew racism, sometimes I look at them and I say, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That is my perspective. So my point is that I try to put myself in a position where that I am demonstrating that I am more than what they think I am. I go above the fray. In other words, I do things that reflects my character as opposed to my skin color. And when you do these things, what you do is that you educate them by your attitude, by your belief, by your habits. So in answer to the question, the way I deal with it is that I don't look at racism, I look beyond that. And I'm saying that the people that spew it, forgive them for they know not what they do. Let me demonstrate that I am above that. So as a result, I find myself being more of an ambassador, if you will, for other Black kids, showing that you could handle these situations based on your attitude and based on how you deal with it. And your quest should be to trying to educate those people who are of racist minds. Obviously, you will not, I'm convinced, all of them, but some of them, they do it for various reasons. They say racist things, they act that way for various reasons. It could mean that, one, I always believe that they're jealous of me. I never see myself as inferior or less than. I see myself as having a lot of skill sets. In other words, my attitude has always been beyond what they think I am. So that's the way I handle it, basically.
Michael, I want you to jump in because I said I want to jump in. Remember, it's a barbershop. It's a barbershop, so it can go left and right. So let's go.
Well. You know what Alex said a while ago. You know, boy, it's hard to believe that you've never experienced anything like that, Alex.
Yes,
Alex.
I will say that at work. Yes.
Yeah, man. Listen, man. I face it every single day. You understand, right? I am. It is one of my. I don't even want to go there too tough still. But listen, when it comes to racism, you understand, right? Yeah, we live in Canada. This is what they call silent river run deep, right? It might look very, very pretty out there, right? But I want to tell you this, it's deep, deep, deep. You understand? Right? So when you're telling me that you've never experienced it before, yeah, I know. You sidestep it a little bit. I understand that, right? But when you have a whole bunch of people coming to you day in, day out, and your phone is ringing 24/7 and telling you that they're having this problem on the job and that problem and blah, 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 blah. You've been through it, you understand? It becomes a motivator to move forward and step around it. And you have to teach them how to angle it, right? You can't just think and see it and say you know it, right? You have to, when you've been there, been through it, still going through it, right? And you know that it ain't gonna stop. You gotta learn, you know, it's something, it's one of the hardest things to explain. So when somebody come to me and they ask me if I've ever experienced racism, you know, I tell them I can't tell them that I haven't experienced it because it's right in front of your face. It might seem as if it's hidden, but it's not. You understand? There's many times I come home and I sit down in my driveway for about half an hour to an hour just to cool myself down. You understand? Sometimes I pick up the phone, I call my aunt in New York just to, you know, just to have a different outlook on what's happening and the reality. That's what's happening in Ottawa. Yeah, at first we're talking about comparing Canada to the US. It's a different type of liberty. And I will always say it. I love Americans because of the way Americans tell you straight in front of your face. Canadians, them give you a smile, and them tell us that them like you very much, and them have a friend who look just like you. That is their friend. So when you tell me, say, you don't experience racism, is either you have to take off the blinders off of your eye, open up your eye and see, right? But I'm still glad to you push your attitude through to make other people know which part of that. And as Budge Banton say, it's not an easy road, right? Some see it's glimmer and glitter. Say it for me, Mikey, please, because I can't sing, you know.
No, I hear what you're saying, but I see somebody just typed exactly what I was thinking. You have to be careful. This Alex guy is a very particular guy. At first, I kind of jumped on the same thing, and then I thought,
no, but see,
he didn't say he didn't see it.
Hold on, one sec. Sorry. Because we have other panelists. So Mikey, just 1 second. Just
yeah. Go ahead, Mikey. I think you onto something.
Dad, you got anything to say? Glenn, just want to let other people participate too, okay? So Dad and Glenn, let's see if you have anything to say.
Sorry, Warren, your mic is really low.
Yeah,
I was thinking here. The first question was, it takes a village.
I want to
but Alex mentioned that he never experienced it. That's fine for him. But overall, he did experience it simply because we all one family, if you want to put it this way, in the Toronto area, whether we spread out or not. So he might not actually physically experience it, but it was there among his family, his brothers and sisters, whoever, because it's part of our culture. So when one, it reminded me of the George Floyd. We're not talking about George Floyd, but I remember the people that were protesting. There were many people that came in from other parts of the USA to join the group, and it hurts them just as much as it hurt the immediate family. So although Alex might have said he never personally experienced it, he did experience it in many ways outside of himself. But further on to that, I have experienced it. I remember because I came to Toronto in 1972, and there was an incident with Warren actually. I remember when they have the Knockville Farm. I don't know if many of you remember the Knockville Farm supermarket. Many of you remember that in Toronto?
Yeah.
Right. I remember this white lady came in from. She was a Russian, and I was pushing Warren in this pram there, and she came down want to put her hands on him. Now her hands are not very clean. I am a very particular person when it comes to cleanliness. And she wants to touch him, you know, how these white people come in there, tickly too, and all that foolishness. I tell her, look, could you please don't touch my child, because he's a very young child and I don't know what germ you have picked up while you're in there. And she started out by telling me she's a Canadian, and you could tell the big accent. She scarcely speaks English. She's Canadian, and why don't we go back to where we came from? Now here it is. Warren born in Toronto. I'm not sure. I never get into any conversation with her because I don't care to. But the first thing was out of her mouth was, why don't you go back where you came from? You see, so we have to look at a lot of this nonsense that the white man be thinking. And I'll tell you this, there are a lot of those same people probably still not landed in Canada, but they believe because they're blending with the white people that they are part of the system. And I'll tell you this, there's even some people in the Caribbean, like from Puerto Rico, because they're fairer than certain black people, that they tend to think that they are part of the white race, but they don't know that the same white man will condemn them. But I do believe that races exist in every one of us, have that kind of thinking. We might not show it all the time, but it is there, very prominent. I have other examples, but I won't go into those now. But there are many examples out there that each and every one of us can at least have a say about. So it does exist very prominently in Toronto area, if not across Canada.
Thank you, Dad. Appreciate it. And you know that, yes, I was young at one point. Yes, I was young. All right, Glenn, you had something to say, please.
Yeah, I want to say that when you look at racism, racism has to do with how you mentally prepare yourself for it. For example, one of the points that my brother made just now about racism in every one of us, there the minority, the majority, and the minority. Let's look at those two things. If the majority of the population is white, then the minority black. Sometimes you say, well, there's racism between the white and black, but there's racism everywhere, and how you prepare yourself mentally for it is very important. Now, you have Asians, you have Chinese, and you have all types of cultures within the Toronto area and wherever, North America. And, sometimes it is important for us as Black people to get together and say, well, these are the things that you will come across with. But how do you prepare yourself mentally for it is important, because it will come. And I must say that I understand what Alex was saying, that he doesn't experience it, but it's there. We must understand that the whites will be, they might agree with you at work, they might like you at work, but then when they go off on the evenings and their dinners, is segregation exists. So, and behind the scene, there's always these types of little chats and so on. So racism exists everywhere, and especially when you're in a minority. In minority groups in Toronto, there are Blacks, and you will feel it more than the other persons or the other groupings. But racism is really in deep in the North American culture, especially in the US, and how you deal with it is important. Sometimes you can tell yourself you're mentally prepared for it, you're going to overlook it, but it does exist, and we have to be able to prepare for it, because it's not easy to get around. It's not easy to get out of it. It's going to be there for a very, very long time. But how do you deal with it is important. Thank you.
Most
definitely.
definitely.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Because time, so we're going to open up, Mike. I know you had something to say. I hope everybody can hear me. What we're going to do is we're going to open to question and answers from the audience to the panel. But before we do that, Tony, you had something to say.
So I was just talking to Warren, and I was saying though, with is it Alex? Yeah, I was saying what Alex was saying is equivalent to him saying that if you don't go looking for it, you will not find it, and that's racism, right? Is that correct, Alex?
Yes, I can't hear you. Could you speak louder, please?
Talking to Warren, I was saying that what you were saying was equivalent to use to it being that if you don't go looking for racism, it wouldn't come your way. Is that what you were saying?
No, I'm just saying it's your attitude. According to Klein said is how you deal with it. I think that's the key. Yes, it is there. It's everywhere, but it's how you deal with it and how you prepare yourself. And I'm just saying that over the years, I have prepared myself not to look at it, not to look at the people that spew the racism, but look at things beyond that. Know that they are a product of a society that taught them all these things, So you need to look beyond that so that you could have a clear mind to be able to deal with that. These same people that could be racist to you, because of your attitude, they could turn around and you could actually lead them and think differently. So all I'm saying is that yes, we know it's there. Yes, we know it's there. But how do you deal with it? And how do you focus on trying to educate those people who have been exposed to that thing for many, many years, and it has become part of their culture? We need to teach them. We need to
I understand that, but that does not include pushing it to the side or brushing it away.
No, it's not. Obviously, it's not. No, it's not. Obviously, you deal with it. You're with it all the time.
Just be who you are, but that does not solve the problem.
Obviously not. But by trying to educate one person in your group, in your environment, is better than none. You understand? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, so we're back. Can we get the spotlight? I want to see the spotlight on us. So you guys see the J's, man. The barbershop, man. Does that sound like Jay-Z? Does that sound like, did I do a good job, Joanne? Does that sound like Jay-Z? No? All right, cool. No? You're a hater. Anyway, this is joking, Joanne. This is joking.
You got something to say? Say
All right.
it, man. Don't hold back.
We're gonna open it up. I want to acknowledge that Michael had his son beside him too. So please, I know he didn't get to say anything, but please join the conversation too, please. Adele, can we get the spotlight? No one's seeing Warren. We're seeing a blank screen. We're not, no one's on Warren, right? You guys see these shoes, right? So right now we're gonna open it up to a question and answer period, okay, for the panelists, and then we're gonna open the shop up. Thank you. I got Gerda. I think I pronounced your name correctly. If I didn't, I'm sorry. Gerda is mentioning here, even with that attitude that makes some of them to dig in and try to make our lives even more miserable. I think that was a comment to Alex when you were speaking. No shade, but this is a barbershop talk. This is what's happening in the barbershop, right? Sunday's iPhone, I'm not sure who you are, but I'm gonna read your comment. Says, actually, it is true and possible to block your thoughts from racism. If you have exceptional skills set in your chosen area, you will not notice racism. I'm kind of on the fence on that one. Exceptional skills. You have to build exceptional skills. You have to build certain skills along your life. So I think
exceptional skills. You will not.
I'm not sure who's talking, but really, this one moment. I think respectfully, we have to use that language with certain people, and certain people we have to be very very cognizant of. That's just my comment there. JB says, Alex recognized racism. He has learned to deal with it in his way. He has managed to go past it. Everybody's experience and how they deal with it is different. Let's accept his story. Appreciate you. Thank you, JB. Lisa says, the fact that you have to prove yourself so much is a reaction to racism. I can see where you're going with that, Lisa. Oh, and continues on. We always have to work harder and try to be impeccable. I agree with that. My father told me, sorry, you got to work 10 times harder. Dad, you remember telling me that? Because you told me that. You told me that many times. I think you even told me that up to last week.
Oh yeah, you have to. As a black man, you have to.
All right. Danette, I think I said that right, says, Alex, perhaps you believe that you have not experienced racism may stem from this subtleness of which it presents and your mindfulness attention to it. Or not, capital not. Lisa says, I'm gonna read a couple more here. While the other races get over and above just being mediocre. That's also says. Kira says, he must have experienced it to be able to develop this way of approaching racism that is spewed at him. So you've developed thick skin, I'm getting from that, Alex.
Yeah.
Shardy says, people will hide behind racism to hinder their sins, jealousy and envy, greed, and just all the deadly sins. I can see where you're going at. Alicia says, remember racism is universal. It is every country, even in the Caribbean, where we are from. I was too black to get a job as a bank teller in Jamaica, 1963. Thank you for being vulnerable. Appreciate you, Alicia. You're absolutely right with your comment. Thanks for mentioning that. I'll read one more that's more recent. Okay, let's stop there because let's get to the question and answer period. So we're going to take about 10 minutes to talk to any questions for the panelists. I think I read a few comments, but does anybody out there have any questions that you want to ask these panelists right now? You can put in the chat, or you can take yourself off mute and ask your question. Oh, we got a question here. What advice does the panel have for how to create successful, sustainable Black advocacy organizations? From Robin. So the question again is, what advice does the panel have for how to create successful, sustainable Black advocacy organizations? What are some advice? Paul, you'll be next. Paul, you'll be next. Anyone want to comment or make a suggestion for Rob?
I'll make a small comment on that. I think, especially in the temperature that we have right now, a lot of people think there's only one way to go about it. So if you're going to create a group, or if you're going towards advocacy of any kind, do it for something that you're very passionate about. It's like anything else. If you're not working, or if you enjoy what you do, then you won't work a day of your life. So make sure whatever you're advocating for, whatever you're going after, it's something that you're really passionate about and that you're willing to get up. Don't jump on bandwagons and say you have to do this because everyone's doing this, or you have to do that because everyone's doing that. Make sure that whatever you're going after, it's something that you really and truly believe in. And that way, when the people who are of like mind surround you, it's not going to be work. You're just going to be doing what you love and going after what you love.
Thank you very much, Mikey. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Agreed. You
Michael,
took the words right out of my mouth, buddy.
Okay, thank you. Paul, you had a question. I saw your hand up. You want to ask your question, or you want to type it?
I can ask my questions. Greetings. Thank you, Mikey, for inviting myself to this conversation. I think it's beautiful on a Sunday evening to have what we call a Sunday dinner talk. I have a question for those who are fathers. What advice would you give to young Black fathers who are raising their children in this environment of anti-Black racism? What advice would you have for them? You'd pass down to a young Black father.
Thank you for that question, Paul. Appreciate it. Anybody want to take that?
Well, the advice that I have to give you, my friend, be patient, learn to listen, be not too quick to be upset, right? Whenever they talk to you, be attentive and don't try to think that you're Mr. Know-it-all, because anytime you think that you're Mr. Know-it-all, and actually, they will look at you as if you don't know nothing. Just give them lots of love, right? They're gonna ask you many things. Just answer as much as you can. If you can't find answers, if you don't know the answers, right, find it. Just tell them. Just be honest and straight up to you, and everything will be all right. Am I right or am I wrong, gentlemen?
I think you're obviously right. And unfortunately, I don't have sons, but I do have daughters. And as a father, demonstrating to them the kind of person, the kind of young man that they would want in their relationship, I think I have a very, very big role to play in that. And it's very simple principles. And simple principles is that, as a man, as a young man, you need to set an example for yourself. You need to respect yourself. You need to be aware of your actions and the consequences of your action. You need to be a man of your word. The word is very, very important because that defines who you are. You need to continue striving for results, striving to better yourself, striving to learn, to get to the other side. That's very important. And obviously to be supportive and encouraging. These are the qualities that young ladies or young women would want in a man. So bottom line for the young guys out there, respect for self, personal hygiene, that's important. Personal hygiene, how do you present yourself? Even a shake hands could determine the kind of person that you are. So you don't want to shake somebody's hands very soft. You want to be strong, you want to be firm. So there's a lot of little things that you can implement in your own compartment, in your own self, to deal with all these tribulations and all these pressures, so that by your actions and by your words and by the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, people learn to respect that. So bottom line is to, first of all, look at the man in the mirror, the young men, look at the man in the mirror and find out how can you develop yourself to be a better person. And by being a better person also means that you also need to talk to the older generation. They can impart a lot of information. And that's one of the things that I would really commend Warren and you guys to create this kind of environment, because when I was growing up, I did not have that. It was sink or swim. So, but it's important for us to impart that kind of knowledge to our young kids, to the young men, to realize, to make them understand that they are not an entity in themselves. They are an entity together with a potential family, moving in that direction, that the young women would want a good a man, let's put it this way, a good man with proper values for themselves to raise a family. And then the generation continues. So bottom line is, you got to take the bull by the horn, young guys, and do the right thing. Just do the right thing. If you're not sure about something, you got to learn. You got to seek it. Continue being hungry. By being hungry to better yourself, it not only betters yourself, but it is a lot better for the society in which you live in. Family values, all these other things would come to play. So that's what I would do.
I just want to really quickly add, finding ways to communicate with your boys, making sure that there's a way that you can talk to them freely and they can talk to you freely. So you don't want outside teaching your kids certain things. You want to be the resource for when certain subjects come up, certain issues come up, that they're coming to you and talking to you and not to somebody else. So making sure, I know it's difficult because a lot of we've been raised and hearing certain things, little kids are only supposed to be seen and not heard. And a lot of these sayings, kids take to heart very seriously. But there has to be a situation where when the difficult things that are happening right now come to the forefront and they have questions in their mind and they're unsure of things, that you're able to sit down with your sons and talk to them. And it's difficult. Some days I have some conversations with these ones that make me reach for rum bottles real quick, but we have to find a way to be able to talk to them.
So another thing I wanted to add to that is that it starts with you, as the father, as being a role model to your kids. You can't tell your kids one thing and doing the other. You know what I'm saying? Because kids, they always tend to look up to their fathers as their first role model, right? And I think you as an individual are supposed to take it upon yourself and set the example. Like I said before, you can't be saying one thing and then do the other. You can't tell your kids, oh, don't smoke this, don't do this, but yet still you're smoking. Because that kid wants to be just like his father at the end of the day. So I guess it starts with us.
If I could chime in real quick.
Yep, sir, who that was?
Oh, it's Arnita. It's Arnold.
Arnold, 1 second. We're going to open up right now because we're behind on time. So I just want to say, panelists, thank you very much. Arnold, you'll be next, okay? I promise you. Then we got Joanne. See, the barbershop talk is about to rock, okay? So panelists, thank you very much. I know Glenn had to leave early. Glenn, appreciate you. I know you're gone, so thank you very much. Dad, love you always. Appreciate you for doing this. Mikey, Michael, Alex, it was amazing. Thank you so much. So now we're moving into the barbershop talk. So what this means now, folks, is that we're opening up the space for people to talk, okay? So we're going to take questions, or we're going to take it by first come, first serve. We have people who are going to help us to make sure that you get on, but we got a time restriction. So we got to, please make your comments or your comments brief to the point. We're going to give people 2 minutes. 2 minutes to talk. That's all you got. All right. I got a timer. It's on my wrist. I am timing. I will cut you off. Okay. All right. So before I do that, I just want to mention that Mikey and Michael had 2 young men beside them. I just want to give them space to say something because they were sitting there quiet, like they were under discipline, under manners. They didn't get there like, I ain't got to say nothing. I'm just making some fun. Do you guys have anything to say before we get into the general conversation? Anything?
Hi, I'm Shaquille.
Appreciate you.
I'll just give a background on my experiences. I'm born in Ottawa, but I've been living out in Toronto up until about now. I came back and I'm living with my Uncle Brooks. But essentially it's like I really found what Mikey said about being first generation being a first generation Afro-Caribbean, but also he's also from the older generation as well. So listening to things that my father and that my Uncle Brooks would always say, they would always, you know, like, to compound on what Alex said about not experiencing racism, what he was trying to say was that he does not let it bother him, which is what I also got told. Like, you don't want to instill that fact that you are inferior because of your skin color or of your heritage or of your race and all that stuff. So that's what I think he was really trying to say. I don't think he was trying to say he doesn't experience racism, because being Black in a, you know, as we know, in a colonized white nation, we all know that we're going to experience racism, whether it's, you know, overt or whether it's, you know, subtle. So especially in Canada, a lot of it is subtle, or you don't have a chance to really respond. So you just kind of, you know, you kind of just have to like move on. And it's also tricky because I've also seen some of the comments saying, you know, how do you deal with mental health, and especially regarding racism. And that's a constant like battle that we as Black people are always going to have to go through, because we're also tasked with dealing with the effects of racism, overcoming it, and then we also have to try to fix it so it doesn't keep poisoning, you know, our communities. And that's just how I just trying to get some of my thoughts out. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Mikey, can I call you Mikey Jr.? Can I do that? Can I do that? You want to say anything?
No, so a bit to the point of mental health and dealing with racism from the outside, whether it's another culture, another race, or anything. I think it's important that you have an older, whether it's a Black mom or a Black dad, who's there to explain to you how to deal with it, and for you to not lash out. Because you guys were talking a lot about racism from so white people and stuff, but a lot of the time, what I've experienced growing up in a mainly white neighborhood with a couple Black kids is a lot of the racism that I've experienced has came from other Black people. When they're dealing with really tough situations, then they'll put that on me, is what I experienced growing up. And I didn't really understand it until I got older. But when that stuff's happening to you and you don't understand, why is that person saying this about me, or that's not true, why are they, then you lash out at someone else if you don't have somebody else there to help you. So I think it's really important that my dad has been able to explain, like, yeah, but you don't, or if something happens, he'll explain like, yeah, this person might be dealing with this, or this person might be dealing with that. And then I appreciate having him here with me to explain like how to deal with the racism that I experience in a positive way, not a negative one.
You know, thank you. You bring up a really important point. And Mikey Sr., thanks for being who you are to Mikey Jr. Appreciate you. All right. So now we got to move on. I'm sorry. I know there was a lot coming from the panelists again. Thank you very much. Now we're moving on to the barbershop talk. So again, picture, close your eyes. Tupac. Remember Tupac, Picture Me Rolling? Picture yourself in a barbershop. Okay, that's the best experience we can give you. I'm sorry you can't be here with us. I'm sorry. I wish you could, but now you got to close your eyes, put yourself in a barbershop, and we're getting to that barbershop banter. Okay, so Arnold, I know you had something to say. Start us off, brother. You got 2 minutes starting right now.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. I think for me, I have a son who's 7, who's biracial, partly Native, partly African, and I have another one on the way. So I think one of the best things that I see in my son that I believe I do well is how I treat, my wife and his mom. I think we really need to go ahead and go back to the fundamentals, because I personally hate it when I hear young men, 16 and above, and I'm sure I was guilty of it when I was younger, referring to our women as with derogatory language, shall we say. And then it always makes me wonder, where did they learn that from, right? And so I think it's fundamentally important that we teach our boys how to treat our women, right? And once that happens, I think the structure of the Black family is going to be so solid that it's going to be hard for exterior things to affect it, right? So it's just like, let's teach them how to respect our women, how to treat our women. And you do that by being respectful to women in your life as a man. And I think that's important. I just wanted to chime that in.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think it's what you said is definitely relevant. We gotta lead by example as Black men. We gotta respect our Black women. It's really important. So I really appreciate you saying that. But before we get into it, Peter, help me out. What's our first group question? We got a group question now. Our first group question. What is that?
All right, our first group question is, how would you describe your relationship with the older generation of Black men?
Ooh, who wants to be vulnerable? You know, who wants to talk about their relationship, maybe with their dad, their uncle, you know? Who would like to chime in?
Well, well, my relationship, as I told you all before, I came to Canada without my father. I was brought up in my situation in Jamaica. There was about 23 siblings or family members around me. When I came to Canada, it was just me and my mom, right? My mother is a very hardworking woman. Now, she had a couple of her friends, right? And all of my friends, their father became my father, and their mother became my mother, right? So the relationship that I had with them, I shared a wealth of knowledge, and I also grasped a whole wealth of it. You know what I mean? So the relationship that I had was loving, caring. You understand? The discipline was hard. One move you make, and you make the wrong move, well, you hear it about 10, 15 times. And I don't mean just hear it, you get it. But, right? So my relationship with my elders, I love it, and I still have it, and it still go on from now, because if it wasn't for them holding me and keeping me straight, and whenever time I bend the road or I bend the corner, them are the one will come back and pull me back up in line. And up to today, because of working, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy volunteering and working with full seniors, because I get to see those elders that was there for me, and I still hold on to me, and I still keep in contact with them, because they're always there. You know, they're deep right here in my heart. I never stop, my friend, right? That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. So I have to acknowledge Alicia Campbell. Alicia, I'm sorry, your hand was up for a very long time. So please, Alicia, ask your question. Alicia?
Elijah.
Am I saying it wrong?
Yes.
Elijah?
Elijah Campbell, Mr. Campbell, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Elijah? Hello? Are you there? Okay, we're gonna move on. If you can get your mic right, and then we'll move on until you're ready. Peter, can you pose the next question, please?
All right, so next question is,
All right.
as young Black men, what have you learned from older Black men that has added value to your lived experience?
Didn't we just ask that question?
No, that was the question.
No, the question before was, how would you describe your relationship? But we can move on.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, this question, say it one more time, please.
As young Black men, what have you learned from older Black men that has added value to your lived experience?
Oh yes, a different question. This is relevant.
I'll post it in the chat too.
So young Black men out there, Mikey Jr., I see you smiling already. All right.
I was smiling because as soon as I heard the question, I was like, there's so many different answers to this question.
Lead us away, please.
I feel like as a young Black man in a family that is full of older Black men, I'm blessed with a lot of opportunities to talk to older Black men and learn from them. I've learned how to carry myself as a young Black man in a new generation. Obviously, there's some differences between my age and what they dealt with growing up, but I've learned that how I represent myself is gonna be how a person off the street might interpret every other Black person they meet, because that's just the reality of how we're perceived. I've learned that family is number one, right under God, obviously. And the importance of relationships and the importance of valuing relationships with family members and friends, especially those who are a part of your culture. Those are the two biggest ones.
Thank you, appreciate it. Anybody else who wants to chime in next? Young Black men, what have you learned from the older generation?
Can I speak?
Yeah, 100%, my friend. Go ahead.
So pretty much, like it's like Mikey Jr. said, like there's so much, because I learned, like, even my father going through school telling me of like how Canada was, how it used to be in terms of how they got perceived as Black men, and how that is gonna fall, like just like Mikey said, it's gonna fall onto us because we don't get seen as Black individuals. We always have to speak for all Black people, even though that's impossible because we have so much. A lot of we get pigeonholed to the Black experience is like one or two different things, but the Black experience is multiple different things. But we all have that shared, because we're part of the same community. We're all part of that African diaspora, so we all are gonna have a shared lived experience, even though our paths are different. So I would take nuggets from my uncle and my father, from them growing up when they were young men. And when I'm growing up, I try to not compare to one-to-one compare, but to see what did they do in similar situations and how did they get through it, and try to apply that in my life, if that makes sense.
I want to ask a question. I want to ask a quick one. I don't know. It could be a very broad statement or broad.
Go ahead.
It can be a lot of things because how I view it now, I am outside of Toronto, although I visited Toronto almost every year. Within the last year, I did not. But for 9 years, I was not really there, but I still get the news and I understand what is going on. But the question was about young people. How do they learn from the older people? But do they actually learn it from the older people? Because when I look at the young men, not the young women, the young men in Toronto, I'm going to use Toronto, not America, how much advice are they getting from the older people? Because the younger generation has a different concept, plus technology and different things like that. Because if you look at the ratio across Toronto, at least 50%, I'm going to say 50% of the men don't have a mentor, a father figure in their lives. So I only thought of that when that question was asked, because it is always there. And I'm wondering if that is a statement to be made, or it is something that should be leave alone to an individual person. But I don't think so, because when you look at the younger generation, younger women, you find younger women staying in school and finishing their education, whereas the men now, you're only getting about between 1 to 5% of the young men that is actually going to school and staying in school and trying to understand. I like what Mikey's son there, talking, and the Brooks there. Those are two, but how many do we have out there that involved in the older people or in the community, or even staying on course with the education?
Yeah, can I talk about that?
Yeah, Kyle, you've got 2 minutes, please go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I was about to bring that up because yeah, I didn't really grow up around my dad and so on. So, to be honest, like I was just gonna say, the Black men I kind of learned from was like, from hip hop. When you listen to hip hop, dancehall, like most of the stuff, I learned is basically from, I guess, what we call our Black culture. Where guys on the streets and stuff like that, and then you kind of just have to decide what you think is right and what you think is wrong for yourself. And then it kind of changes the older you get. You kind of get wise, and you say maybe some things are kind of not the smartest things to do. Some things are working, so you work with that, right? But I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of trial and error when you don't necessarily have that father figure, or even like a Black man mentor. And I think that's the toughest part too, when you're a Black kid growing up. You can't really relate to like white older men, or any other kind of older men, right? So having a black older man that you actually do look up to, because a lot of them you don't really, right? Is actually pretty difficult. Yeah.
Carl, thanks for being vulnerable, man. Appreciate you. You didn't have to say a little bit of what you did, and so appreciate you doing that. Well, thank you. So let's move on to the next question. Oh, Elijah,
Yes.
I think I'm saying your name correct. I see your hand again. Are you ready?
You hear me now?
There you are. I hear you. It's very low, though. Can you guys speak up, please?
Oh, sorry about that. I just turned up my volume here. The point is that children copies what they see, and coming from generation, I'm older now. I was young when I came here in 1967, but Black men in Ottawa at that time were very few. And so we were looking for fathers to help us along the way as new young students. And I can call names. There were just, if you could have counted the amount of Black people in Ottawa in 1967 on one hand. And it would be either you're a student, a football player, an entertainer, or the son of a diplomat. That's how rare Black single men would have been in Ottawa in 1967. But there were a few Black men here. But first of all, as a young Black man, you have to gain their respect. So they have respect for you and you have for them. And I'm going to call names, Joanne Robinson's father, Mr. Egbert Mayer, Mr. Chris Clarke, are some of those people who we had as elderly in our community, and we looked up to them, respect them, and they did likewise. But as a child growing up, you copied your activities of your home, the behavior of your home, the culture of your home set. And this is what you take with you along the way. And what we were told about racism is if you, or even by fighting at school, if a dog start barking at you and you start barking back at the dog, you become two dogs. And my mother's question was, do you want to be a dog? So we have to understand that children learn from home base, and that's where you get your start, is at home. So parents have to set examples for children to follow.
Thank you, Elijah. Really appreciate it. Same thing that Tony just mentioned a moment ago. It starts from home. So thank you very much. Appreciate you. So we're going to move on to the next question. Alex, you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. Sure.
Check with you, brother. Peter, can we get the next question, please?
Yeah, no worries. So the next question is, what are qualities of manhood that you would advise today's young Black men to adopt?
Ooh. I think Arnold was talking about that a bit, respect to women, but who else can add value to that? So what qualities that, and I think Alex, you were talking on that too, but what qualities that you would really appreciate young Black men adopting at this point in their life?
I'm not sure how many people know this poem called Desiderata.
Yes.
Yeah.
Desiderata is a poem. It's words that I would recommend to young Black men to read and to live by. And it has been a source of inspiration for me. I've lived my life, excuse me, I've lived my life with that poem in mind. And let me just read a couple of excerpts. Maybe some of the young guys would hear me. It says something like, go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth clearly and quietly, and listen to others, even to the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there are greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievement as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love. For in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength in spirit to shield you in certain misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome principle, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have the right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, whatever your aspirations and labors in the noisy confusion of life. Keep peace with your soul. With all its shams, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Strive to be happy. So for me, this says it all, that if anybody live their life with those principles, I think this is what I would recommend to the young guys, to read it and to live it. And you will see that their lives will be a lot more fruitful, in my view.
Can I add value to that?
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. We hear you. Anybody want to add value there? Quiet, keep going. So we got about, just looking at the time, we are closing up in about 13 minutes. We got a giveaway to do as well. So we'll do a couple more questions and then we'll see where we land. And we want to give away this, we want to give someone some product today, some beard kits. If you don't have a beard, grow a beard. Not if you're a woman, obviously. We don't want to encourage that.
Mikey, you already have yours.
I just trimmed down mine because they said we were going to be in the barbershop and I didn't want to come in looking how I was looking on Thursday. So.
All right. Okay. No, not yet, Sonny. Not yet. We're not there yet. Thank you. Next question, Peter, please. Let's do one or two more.
All right. The next question we have is, in what ways can we support Black young men to develop non-toxic masculinity traits?
Ooh. You know, this is a good question. I like this question.
Man, how you expect to do these things in 2 hours? Good God.
I'll give that question a try.
Yeah, hold on a second. I just want to comment here quick. See, Mikey, this is the trick, right? This is how I get them coming back. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They come back. Sorry, go ahead. I took away from your shine, brother.
Oh, it's okay. Definitely a part two. I've been telling Warren about this from time, so he knows that. I think it starts small when they're young. I see this at the park every time. We have a few parks, and it's just a simple thing. You know, it's a little girl falls down. Everyone runs to her. It's like, "Are you okay, princess? Are you okay?" A little boy falls down. You say, "Come on, man. You know, clean yourself up. Boys don't cry. Boys don't cry." I cringe every time I hear those words. Boys do cry, and they should be allowed to cry. You can't go ahead and start inputting those words in a little boy's head, because that little boy is eventually going to grow up into a man that doesn't know how to express his feelings. And unexpressed feelings have to be managed somehow. So then there's substance abuse, or there is violence that he turns to. So it's just, for me, it's in the little stuff that we do. Sometimes my son comes and he says, "What's wrong, Dad?" And I say, "Man, I had a hard day." And he says, "It's okay, you can tell me about it." We talk about it, and sometimes he calls me, or you know, he says, "Hey, Dad, can you come and see me?" And I do, and then we talk, and he tells me, "You know, this is how I'm feeling." I'm like, "Okay, Describe it to me. And we work that out. We unpack that. So to anybody that is exposed to, especially any boys at any stage, encourage them to just unpack their feelings, because it's powerful. And you can tell the grown men that have never had that opportunity. It's so weird when you're getting to know someone, you can tell the people that were never encouraged to talk about their emotions. They turn it into a joke, or they suddenly just close that door whenever emotions are involved. It's okay to cry. It's okay to say, hey, I'm not okay. And then most importantly, just in closing, I would say it's a two-way highway. That was the previous question. Just to say, I seek out mentors. I reach out to old OGs in my community, African community, but it's also their job to be open to that. It's their responsibility to do, right? The elevator goes up and down, right? So I'll just close off. I'll just stop there.
Thanks, Arnold. Appreciate it. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to do more barbershop talk, but you know, I'm busy, you know, but I'm trying. Thank you.
We don't have a lot of time, so I will wait next time.
No,
and I was going to say, wisdom is the beginning of understanding, and as long as the older people have that wisdom, they should be able to pass on some of that wisdom to the younger folks. But unfortunately, some older generation don't do that. They tend to hold on to it and they don't pass it on. The importance of it is making sure that your children or the community able to understand what it's like to have a beginning of wisdom, and you could have that by teaching the younger folks some of your experience, good experience that is, how to cope with reality, cope with life, and things like that. And I will stop there because we don't have much time, but it's a pretty big area to cover.
Thank you. Any other comments? So we got a comment here from, I think it's WIKIW. I'm just gonna spell the name because I've been messing up names all day, all night. So this person says, humility plays a great part in this. Don't be afraid to show his emotional nakedness or their emotional nakedness. It's part of growth and maturity. There's strength in being vulnerable. I agree with that. You know, I think I also add value to that comment. I think it's important to be vulnerable with the right people. I don't think you be vulnerable with everyone. That's just me. That's my thing. Because when you're vulnerable with people, what you're trying to do is create a balanced reciprocal relationship. Dropping gems, people. If you don't know that word, go look it up. All right, but I'm going to tell you the mutual understanding, a balance of understanding between two people who we can be vulnerable with, but also create that safe space to do that. And it's educational. It's recognizing a person's emotion, but it's also recognizing that this person's human. So I think it's really important that vulnerability can be shared, but again with the right people. So I'll definitely say that.
Can I just get 30 seconds to add one other small thing in?
Go ahead.
I so much I want to say right now, but what I really wanted to get across, again, we have to be careful in the language that we use with people listening in and leaving here with knowledge and with trying to get or grasp a greater understanding. Because I think we might confuse some people in saying we want to raise strong Black boys. We want our young boys to be strong and stand up for themselves on earth. You can be strong and cry. You can be strong and feel weak. You can be strong and be scared. All these things can happen at the same time. Allowing a little Black boy to cry doesn't make that little Black boy weak. It's just allowing him to be vulnerable in that space and that time. So you can nurture those emotions and still have him stand up and be a strong Black man. It doesn't have to be exclusive that if he's crying, he's weak. Or, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We have to start understanding that strength does come along with showing these emotions as well. So don't feel because your kid's crying that he's weak. Your kid's crying because he needs to cry. And when he dusts himself off and you can still have him raise his chin and be a strong person, it doesn't take away from him if he's crying or feeling weak or feeling scared.
I agree with that. Thank you. Mikey, you got the last words there, and you think you hit the home run on that one. Seeing a lot of thumbs up right now, a lot of smiles, so thank you very much. Appreciate you, Mikey. All right. So without further ado, because we got 5 more minutes and Tony's gonna kick me out. I'm just joking. But we gotta give away two beard kits. All right, Adele, can you play that video one more time before? Oh, there it is. The beard kits. Play it. Let's see the music. Let's do the cha-cha with it. Oh, I'm doing the cha-cha without music. Holy Trinity of beard care. All right, support Black, please. You know, I know this individual. He's doing some great things out in Toronto. He started his beard, his beard care kits. Please support. All right, Sonia, I know you've been trying to get this wheel of fortune going, so let's do it. Here we go. Who's gonna win one of two beard kits? Who's that? It's not stopping. Is it gonna stop? I don't know. When's it stopping? It just keeps going. And that was a hard, you know, virtual spin.
Is it still?
It looks like it's still spinning. What the heck what kind of thing is?
Wait.
I thought it was gonna stop on what?
Orlando thought he won, man.
Myra Flash, are you there? If you don't respond, you ain't getting nothing. You better respond. I gotta hear you. Myra Flash, are you there? Myra. Going once? Going twice?
Myra,
you lost. You lucked out. Spin it again. I'm ruthless, folks. This is what, you don't come. See, that's the thing about Zoom calls. People be coming on here thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna come in for 5 minutes and check out. No. If you ain't here, you can't win. That's not fair. You know what I mean? But what's up with this virtual wheel though? This virtual wheel is like, yeah, it looks like it's gonna stop, and it just is like
Orlando lose all the cheese.
I mean, I've got quite the beard myself, so if nobody takes it, I will. You know.
I hear you, but your name gotta, you know, we gotta show up on this. Here we go. Like, are you? Alexis Johnson, are you there? Alexis, going once, going twice. All right, spin it again. All right, come on, folk. There's got to be someone out here who wants a beard kit.
I already said.
You know what? Here what we'll do, all right? If this person doesn't get it by default, I'm giving it to you because we gotta close this up. All right, hold up. All right, let's do this. Is it gonna stop now? Is it? Come on, what kind of wheel is this?
The wheel just keeps going and going.
It just keeps going.
Oh, it's
Orlando, no. I think it's Peter.
Is it gonna be Peter? No.
No.
Wow. Like,
I'm done.
Rita or Rita Jones, are you there? Are you there? All right, you know what we're gonna do? Who? What happened? I don't know what happened. Mikey Wisdom Jr., congratulations! You got it away. All right, spin it for the last one. Holy! Where did people go? Is people on mute?
Yeah.
I think Orlando should get, because Orlando's name always comes up at the last part of the spin.
All right, let's see if we can get somebody here who's gonna actually participate. Like, yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Dr.
Why is it just speed up like that? That's like something just happened arbitrarily. Something just happened right there. Sunday, are you there?
Sunday.
Sunday, are you there? Jonathan, are you there? I'm just gonna just shout out names here. That's just what's happening. All right, Ronaldo, are you there? I'm arbitrarily picking somebody. Someone's got to respond to me here. Come on, there's 65 people on here. Let's go here. Hold on, no more spinning. Bob,
Spin the
Bob,
wheel.
are you there? Stop this spinning stuff. Stop it. Bob, are you there?
Shout out to be you there.
All right, you know what? I'm just gonna pick somebody on this here. Who's that?
Yeah,
All right,
mama, there,
Arnold,
there, mama,
congratulations.
there.
Woo! Arnold, what a beard kit.
I
Arnold,
appreciate you, brother.
what a beard kit. Congratulations. Because we got to get out of here, all right? Barbershop is closing, all right? But before we leave, I want to say a thank you very much to Tony for doing this. You know, really appreciate it, folks. You know, this is the last Barbershop Talk in Ottawa. Thank you, Ottawa. I appreciate what you've done for me for the last 5 going on 6 years. I love you guys. You guys have been awesome. You guys have embraced me as a community member, and you've allowed me to grow. You've allowed me to do all these wonderful things. So really appreciate it. It doesn't mean the Barbershop Talk is done. It just means that it's not going to be done here in Ottawa. So again, thank you very much. And we'll be back. I promise you that. So thank you. Before we end, panelists, thank you very much for your time today. It was awesome. We learned. Flow seniors, Joanne, big shout out to Joanne, what you're doing in the community. Thank you so much. Thanks for challenging me. Thanks for critically giving me constructive criticism. Thank you very much, or this wouldn't have happened. I promise you that. All right. So thank you so much. Thank you. Royal Bank, thank you very much for what you do for us. Really appreciate it. It's been awesome. And we look forward for more of these events. You know, big up to Carleton University, big up to University of Ottawa. You know, really appreciate what we are able to do together in this partnership. Big up to the old ACMP crew. Adele, thank you very much for what you do. Sonia, Peter, appreciate you. You know, Karima, big shout out, thank you. Speaking about Karima, Sonia, and Adele, we have a Women's Empowerment Month again. Last Women's Empowerment Month, it was awesome. We had 200 people show up to that event. So, do we have the flyer to show people? Do we have a flyer to show people really quickly? Do we? If not, we're gonna email it to you. We're gonna bother you. We're gonna send you emails. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not joking. We're gonna send you emails upon emails about this stuff, because the more people, more times we do this, you know, this is, oh, there it is, bang. All right, celebration of Black motherhood in Canada. All right, so please visit the weareacmp.com website. If you need to connect with me, you can visit my website. Adele, can we show my website real quick? We just did it yesterday. It's awesome. So I'm big up myself, or big up Adele. Adele did some hard work on this website. So if you need to connect with me, please visit me at my website, warrenclarke.ca. Adele? All right, never mind. All right, warrenclarke.ca. Check it out. All right, other than that, people, thank you very much. Love you guys. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.
Well, before you go, can Tony give out his info for his shop?
Yes, right here. The right cut. All right. It's not here.
It's basically on Solar Rock. Are you in Ottawa?
Yeah.
Yes. It's in Solar, right next to the KFC. So the address would be 908 Solar Rock Boulevard.
So I'm gonna put in the chat. 908.
Yeah, something wrong Boulevard.
So why I gotta know where the KFC at, Tony? Why?
Well, it's next to
Let's play with you.
That was a shot, man. Like, yo, I gotta protect this. That ain't cool, man. Don't do that. That ain't cool, man. All right. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm tired. I'm going home.
All right, thanks, guys.
Later. Thank you. Peace.